everybody, and welcome back to Rosenthal Reviews. Today, we are talking about Mufasa, the Lion King. This is indeed a spoiler-free review, so you can watch this video without hearing about specific plot points or events that happen in Mufasa, the Lion King. So Mufasa is a prequel tale as Simba's dad goes on an epic journey to discover himself, and along the way, he might meet certain friendly and unfriendly faces. That's all I'm going to say. Once again, we've got an ensemble cast here. Beyonce, John Canny, Mads Mikkelsen, all in this film. And we've got a new director in Barry Jenkins, who of course was responsible for the brilliant film of Moonlight. I'm a big fan of the original Lion King movie. Like many, it was the movie when I was growing up as a child, and even as an adult today, I still love it. Even The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, I think it was, I had that on all the time as a kid, so I very much love this world of The Lion King. The 2019 live-action remake, it was okay, it was fine, but it was never going to live up to the original version, and I found the movie didn't have much of a personality. So as a result, I went into Mufasa pretty level-headed. The trailers were decent, nothing mind-blowing, but I was looking forward to going back to this world of The Lion King. All in all, I liked this film. I liked it more than I thought I would. This was a really good time for me. And let's start with the animation, because just like the 2019's Lion King, this animation is first class. It is so good. The world and the expansion upon the world is so well realized. The color palette is beautiful, breathtaking at times. Plus, an important fix here was made, because one of the reasons why I thought the first 2019 Lion King lacked personality is almost because everything was too perfect, including the animals and the lions themselves. When they were expressing emotion, it didn't really come across because they were trying to make everything look so believable. And as a result, it lacked the emotive weight that the animated version had. When these heartbreaking things are happening on screen, you were just like, well, it's happening, but I'm not feeling it from the characters. Whereas in the animated version, you do feel that emotional weight, whether it's, say, Simba and his ears curling as the stampede comes towards him, or as his eyes widen as Mufasa's telling him off. You can clearly feel that emotional weight. And thankfully, I can say the same thing about Mufasa the Lion King, because when I was watching this movie, I felt that punch. I felt threat for the characters. I felt sympathy for the characters. And that's because, yes, at times they had to sacrifice a little bit of realism because we're watching these facial expressions come on lions, but we're watching lions talk, so who cares about realism? And what you get for somebody like me, a viewer watching along, you get emotion, and that is one of the most important things about a film for me. The songs in this movie are not up to the level of the original Lion King. However, I think those songs are probably among the best songs to ever appear in a movie. What you do have here is some music that is pretty catchy and does add to the film. In the cinema, I was bobbing my head along to a couple of the pieces in this film, and when I left the theatre in the car ride home, you guessed it, I put on the soundtrack, and when I was typing out my notes for this review, I had it on then. So if that's not a sign that the music is good in this film, I don't know what is. Just occurred to me that I could have a bad taste in music, but let's just pretend that that's not the case. I should say at this point as well that the general score was amazing throughout this film. Little Lion King themes woven throughout, which I appreciated. And it was one of the reasons why by the end of this film, I actually got chills, like actual Lion King vibe chills. It was really cool, and I think one of the other reasons why I got chills by the end of this film was because I was witnessing the end of this journey that Mufasa has been on throughout this film. So let's have a little chat about that. The film has a really tough job here. Tell the story of one of the best kings of all time. Tell the story of one of the more iconic characters of our time in James Earl Jones' Mufasa. How do you replicate that? Well, you don't. You do what this film did and add your own flavour, add your own twist. That's what this film does really well. It would have been really easy to fall into the trap of giving the Mufasa in this film these big and grand scale moments to give him that presence that Mufasa had in the animated version. And sure, he has those moments, but the movie focuses on other traits. You see Mufasa for the kind, selfless, humble, yes, sometimes flawed character that he is. And I liked that about this movie. I liked that it focused on those more subtle traits instead of just painting Mufasa as this instant, perfect hero. I should say at this point that one of the issues that I did have with the film was with the character of Taka. In general, his character does make decisions that I would expect him to. However, at key moments, he makes decisions that appear a little bit off and feel forced, and to be honest, I think just happen for the good of the plot. Throughout this movie, you do feel very sympathetic for his character, and this is really where I want to touch on parenthood, because you can't talk about The Lion King and not talk about being a father. This movie really hit home for me how much you can end up being a product of your parents. Saying that as someone who is not yet a father, it kind of scared me a little bit, because in this movie, you can really see how the characters of Taka in particular, but also Mufasa, are influenced on their journey to adulthood by their parents. Taka's father is kind of lazy and gives off coward vibes. At one point in the film, he's giving Taka that big speech, that big kingly advice. Simba, this is your kingdom. That scene, right? He tells Taka how, as a king, it's really important for you to be deceitful. A little on the nose, I know, but this is a big deal. Like, this is key advice that Taka is receiving from his dad, somebody that he clearly looks up to. And yet that moment comes back to haunt him in the film because he is influenced by his dad when he's making a big decision later on. So yeah, if anything, if I'm ever lucky enough to become a parent, this movie has inspired me to be the best parent that I possibly can. The only real issues that I had with this movie were the character choices of Taka, which we've talked about a little bit, but also the way that this story was told. As you see in the trailer for this movie, we have Rafiki telling the story alongside Timon, Pumbaa, and Kiara, Simba's daughter. And whilst I would definitely not remove this element of the movie because it is this that leads to the moment that gave me chills, I would have lessened its duration in this film. We'd basically start telling the story and then cut back to Rafiki, and then tell more of the story, cut back to Rafiki, more of the story, more Rafiki, more of the story, Rafiki, story. And it just got to the point for me where I was like, okay, let's just pause the cutbacks to the present day for a little bit and let the story gather some more momentum. But beyond that, I had fun with this movie. I can only recommend that you go see it. Overall, on the Rosenthal Reviews ranking, I'm going to give Mufasa, The Lion King, a 7 out of 10. On the entertainment echelon, it's a 6 out of 10. Still go see it in theatres, but at times the pacing of the storytelling can make it a bit of a drag. And on the feeling factor, I mean that ending where I got chills. That was the feeling I want to remember coming out of the film. Well, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Mufasa the Lion King. Have you seen this film? Are you excited to go see it? Whatever your thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. Now, you'll see me in the short section this side of Christmas, but I don't think I'm going to get you another long form video until after. So, a very happy Christmas to you. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please subscribe for more reactions and reflections, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Mm.